Just didn't realize it. All right, guys, we are now down to the main event. The main event of the evening. A WCW Special Series title belt on the line. The Women's Survival title on the line here tonight. And you're starting to see with these Special Series titles, you're starting to see more of the mainstream wrestlers even going after them now because they still give you a boost. All the title belts in this universe give a boost. So you're starting to see the leader of the Hart Foundation, Bobby Hart, Jane, world champion and a Divas champion, different members of different factions. Misty Watson, former world title. Witcher, former world title. Like, it is absolutely crazy what is going on. Now, remember, this is absolutely
the following contest is an Elimination Chamber match and is for the WCW Extreme Classic Championship. Introducing the champion representing the NWO from Austin, Texas, the WCW Extreme Classic Champion, the Grim Reaper, Mighty Watson.
absolutely funny, but in real life and for a very long time, Misty Watson, as far as girls go, and besides my wife, best friend. They're also best friends, but this is like, if you ever met Misty or me in real life, she is like the female version of me. Very interesting. But the current champion. So what we do know is the champion will not have to go from position 1 or 2. It's not always that way. Again, it's completely random. So being able to defend these titles, very, very hard.
And introducing the challenger, representing D-Generation X from the Garden of Eden,
Allison Wagner, the only female version of D-Generation X. Now making her way down to the ring, Jace Wagner, the leader of D-Generation X. Allison Wagner, his wife. Jace Wagner, my brother. So, figure that one out. It's funny, I like showing these guys their characters, you know what I mean? But again, as we grow, that's why I say there's always room for those who want to be in this universe. There's always going to be room, we'll always make room. Period.
And introducing the challenger, representing the Bikers from Austin, Texas, the superstar, Tony the Witch Cox.
So Tony the Witch Cox. And look, this is kind of funny. R2K, if you didn't know, The Witcher came from here. Digital Dogs came from here. Eagle Star will have come from here. So there's going to be some people in the other universe mode. Absolutely came from right here. Witcher is a real person, though. And she is very involved in making her characters. For sure. Matter of fact, too, Witcher even helped this year help create digital. So, I was doing it, but now she's actually helped create digital. And a Mrs. Money in the Bank. So, something to definitely keep an eye on. Witcher, of course, in that epic battle here as of late for her bike. But now that that's done, she could probably get back to focusing on what being Miss Money in the Bank really means.
introducing the challenger from Shangri-La, Pee-wee.
Penny, this is... Now, you can't see it because of the cage being in the way, but if this was the original entrance, one of my favorite entrances, a lot to do with timing, a lot to do with pyro, a lot to do with a lot of things, but one of the better entrances that I've ever made. I made some really interesting things. Yeah, so it's funny when you're here and you see some of the stuff, and then you see some of the other wrestlers. It's interesting knowing like where they come from. But here we go. Now we know the 4 that it's not going to be. But here we go with the 2 starting. Now, nobody ever on the women's side has ever started from position 1 or 2 in this match with the belt on the line and won the title. And I say that because the title matches, it's not every 30 seconds that they get released. It's every 2 minutes.
And introducing the challenger, representing the Hart Foundation from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Bobby Hart.
But yeah, that's why in some of my things over there, I'm like, I'm the one who brought this and I'm the one who brought it. You know, it's hard to call me a rookie. Been running my own federation for a second. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, and just recently, back into the game, but just recently, have we added so many WCW Special Series titles for the women? We had them lined up for the men already. But when we started adding the Outlaw Championship for the men, now I started bringing on the same thing for the women. Of course, right now we have 32 women wrestlers. 33. Yeah, 33. With the addition of Sarah, Repentia, and Tammy, we now have 33 women wrestlers, and we have enough. We have enough.
Introducing the challenger, representing the Order from Leeds, England, the Universal Women's International Champion, and one half of the Universal Women's World Tag Team Champions, the Legend Killer, Jane.
But we have enough now to start the women's war games. Now, we got to get through the men, get them down to 8. I have a funny feeling once we get them down to 8, I can add in the 8 women's teams and continue the shows the way we've been doing it, but add the women's factions in and keep a separate tally. So, without the addition, so thank you, Repentia, thank you, Sarah, thank you, Tammy, for coming over. You exactly rounded it out perfectly. Not that we won't take on more, not that we can't take in more, but you rounded it out perfectly, and now the women can start their war games. And right on time. It should start as early as next week. And guys, when I talk in weeks, and it could be tomorrow. We know this week we have Thunder. The last episode to round out our week inside the universe is Wrestle War. When we start Nitro, that starts a brand new week of wrestling. Now, we could have an episode a day. We could not. Don't know. Just have to see. But you see the kind of success Jane has been having here as of late. It looked like at one time Bobby Hart was going to kind of start building on that success too. Bobby Hart, absolutely shocked she has not been a world champion. And I mean on the level of Aussie. Bobby Hart easily, for the longest time, was our most realistic-looking wrestler, whether man or woman. Now, starting to get a lot of the women down, a lot of the men down to where they're looking very, very good. But absolutely shocked, the leader of the Hart Foundation hasn't won the world title as of yet. She would start to make like this build-up and almost get to where she was going to get to, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, just not happen. just lose all the momentum, start losing the matches, start doing the whatever. But now Allison Wagner making her way into the ring, turning this in to a triple threat match. And remember, still Elimination Chamber match, still an elimination match. So the last one standing inside the ring will be crowned the WCW Special Series Survival Champion. Current champion right now is Misty Watson, but you saw Jane walking down to the ring with 2 title belts, not just the Universal Tag Team Champion. She has been a Universal World Champion and also holds right now the Universal Divas Champion. So first Grand Slam champion on the men or women's side at the Universal level. There's 3 belts, 1 tag team, 2 singles belt, kind of like a World, a US, and a tag team belt. So World, a Diva, and a tag team belt. So first person ever to hold all 3 titles, not even at the same time, just win all 3 titles. We have about 4 other wrestlers that are on the verge, but they're missing 1, either a world title typically or a tag team title. I think it's Penny. I think Penny's coming out right now. And I'm wrong. The champion coming out right now. So the champion, so far nobody eliminated in this match, and the champion going to have to get after it. The champion gonna have to do what she needs to do. And I'm just really torn right now because we have some time. And Mrs. Totes called, and I told you what the rules are. If Mrs. Totes calls, I got to answer it. So hold on 1 second. Typically it doesn't take that long, but we saw Allison Wagner getting eliminated from the match already. And now all competitors are in the ring, but still, remember, Allison Wagner was the 3rd one to come in. Penny almost hitting her with the penny dropper, with the old, what we call the penny dropper. It's a very obvious move when you see it, but Bobby Hart, at the end of the day, Bobby Hart and Jane still from position 1 and 2. Now Jane setting up for her finisher. Can she get it in? Last dance of Mary Jane. One more chance to pin your opponent. Yeah. Here she goes. 1, 2. And somehow Bobby Hart kicks out of that. Penny hits Witcher with a DDT, and it looks like Misty and Penny are kind of teaming up right there on Witcher. Bobby Hart now fighting through. But the reason why you always got to answer the phone when Mrs. McGoats calls is because we're going to get brisket from Buc-ee's tonight. And if you haven't had brisket from Buc-ee's, what are you doing with your life? I'm serious. Think about that for a second. Like, what are you doing? You got to figure it out. Absolutely crazy. If you've ever tasted it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm a brisket connoisseur. You can't be from Texas and not know what good brisket tastes like. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, the ladies, yeah, they are on another level. I could have a complete universe with nothing but the ladies, and it would be a very exciting match. Bobby now has Jane down on the inside. Witcher fighting through. Missy trying to get back to her feet. You know, Penny having a lot to do with this universe. Really kind of was in a management role for a while, but now back in the WCW, back in a wrestling mode. Witcher trying to gain that momentum again. I know why she hasn't cashed in the Money in the Bank as of yet. Trying to get back. You know, that last feud took a lot out of her. No matter what happens, you got to know it did. Bobby Hart now grabbing the leg of Jane. 1, 2. And the referee almost looking like she was trying to help out Bobby Hart. Just knocking Jane upside the noggin. She put the hand upside her head. She put the hand upside her head. Bobby Hart with a huge slam. This might do it right here. Grabs the leg. 1, 2, 3. And Jane will not hold on to 3 title belts. Only one way you can hold on to 3 title belts. Have a main WCW title, have a Universal Tag Team title, and then have a Special Series title. Now, typically wouldn't happen, but look at this. The thing that might be saving Witcher, Penny's got a pin on Witcher right now, but Witcher having a chance to kind of relax because Misty put in a submission hold. Referee dialed in on that right there. And now Misty trying to get after Penny. Penny turning it back around, but threw Witcher in to the ring. Now Bobby Hart getting after Witcher. Rolls the leg. 2, 3. And Witcher, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Witcher needed the title, to be fair. I think she needs to be focused on what is going on with the contract inside that briefcase. 2, 3, and now it is down to the champion and a person from the beginning of the match. Can Bobby Hart become the first woman ever to start at position 1 or 2 to start the match and then win it? And she is going to have to beat the champion. She is going to have to beat a former world champion. But there it is, Red's redemption, and it might be all over but the pinning. And Misty will retain the WCW Special Series Survival Championship.
Here is your winner, and still WCW Extreme Classic Champion, the Grim Reaper, Mighty Watson.
Congratulations going out to Misty Watson. Retains the WCW Women's Special Series title belt, the Survival Championship. So far, she was the first winner and the only winner. It's only been defended twice, or fought for twice. She won it and has defended it. So, again, hats off to her, a member of the oldest faction in the WCW.